Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with the recovering Democrat, Donovan Saadiq. And this is the Demetra K Show because it's Sunday. And on this very show, we're going to talk about the new hit piece documentary by Showtime called We Need to Talk About Bill Cosby. All right. So, anyway, before we do, I just like to say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even. Also, like to say a big giant thank you and welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, you are participants because we read each and every comment because we feel like you should be heard too. And if I didn't already, say thank you, Donovan. Thank you so much for all that you do on the show and to Marcus Guyton for everything that you do behind the scenes on Facebook to make the show go further. And so before we get started, Donovan, what say you?
All right, you guys, welcome again to another exciting weekend. The Rams and the San Francisco 49ers are playing at a stadium that got rid of thousands of Negroes out of the neighborhood so that we can see two NFL football players play in the playoffs and white folks just be comfortable in their skin as they go down into the ghetto that was gentrified. So, yay, what a great Maxine Waters, great Black leadership. It's awesome. But as you know, when it's Sunday, it is the Demetra K Show. Please do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that button so that we can do it. Share it on your own pages as well, because again, let's just get this message out because a lot of people are waking up and we appreciate people like Demetra and these other platforms that are out there that are kind of really waking people up. And I happen to know for a fact, a lot of older people do listen to what Demetra K has to say and they do chime in and, you know, they listen. They might listen to the whole show, but they're very familiar with the platform and they agree with a lot of stuff that you're saying. So let's get into it.
Well, we're going to see if they agree with me after today. So anyway, let me get to some of these comments before I get started. We got Robin. Good evening, Moni. What's going on? Tracy Monet. You also say, Moni, much Detroit love to you, Demetra. It's officially 6:05, and I love you and my sexy brown sugar Donovan with his head pointed down. He's, doing some technical stuff. And Fight for Black, how you doing? Such a long Queen Demetra, Queen Demetra and King Donovan. Yes, indeed. And Tracy say, oh, I love you here. Thank you so much. Anita, what's going on with you? And Jamarcus, yeah, what's going on? And one who cares says, good evening, Demetra, Donovan in chat. Yes, indeed. Oh, we got Cecil on here. How you doing? Thank you so much for that. And Fight for Black says, Maxine Waters, God. And Moni says, I like my raspberry lipstick, Demetra. It fits you perfectly. I hope you'll be wearing lots of it. And future pink for Valentine's Day, happy early year of the tiger, water tiger year. Yes, all of that. Anastasia, how you doing? Says salutations. And Thunder, what's going on with you? And Jafia, hello. And Facts Not Feelings, what's going on? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. As you guys may or may not know, there is, I call it a hit piece that's out about Bill Cosby. And it's going to start today. It's a 4-part series called We Need to Talk About Bill Cosby. Okay. As if we haven't talked about, when they say we, I don't know who they mean, but they. As if they have not talked about Bill Cosby enough. Now, this series is directed and produced and hosted by Kamau Bell. He is I guess, comedian, some sort of entertainer, journalist. He's known for doing journalist pieces on CNN about wokeness and all that. He's married to a white woman, but that's a different story. But, he talks about things that deal with Black people, if you will. And so somehow he's been commissioned to do this hit piece about Bill Cosby. You guys know Bill Cosby in 2018, April, actually September, he was sentenced to do 3 to 10 years for, aggravated indecent assault on Andrea Constand, where she said that he drugged and molested her. Now, she was invited to his mansion where he's married, right? He has a wife. Going out there, he actually got her a job at Temple University as a female basketball coach. She's gone to his house a bunch of times. She actually sued him a couple of years before. I think it was 2014. Don't get me wrong. It might be a little bit before that. And they settled for like $3 million, right? So they had already settled. And so Bill Cosby was found guilty and sentenced to prison. So he did about 3 years when last year in 2021, the case was overturned because basically his constitutional rights was violated. The previous DA told Cosby and his lawyers that none of this stuff would be admissible. This is just the civil part of it, dealing with the money. And then when it turned into a criminal thing, because you guys remember, all these women came out of the woodworks from all the way from the 60s saying that he did something to them in one way, shape, or form. All right, and so it turned into a criminal case, and then they somehow unsealed the documents against him, and they used the testimony that he gave during the civil trial with Andrea Constand during the criminal trial. And they were not supposed to do that because the DA never really could answer as to why and how it got unsealed. Now, there is speculation that the DA that brought the criminal charges was running for re-election and all of that. And so he used Cosby as his, his banter, his cry, for I'm helping women to get elected type of thing. So anyway, now Bill Cosby is out. And then now they're trying to find a new way of nailing Bill Cosby to the cross by bringing out this documentary. And I watched the trailer a few times, really just to kind of get a grasp of what they were trying to do. And so what they're doing is, and I call it the usual suspects. Now, when I say the usual suspects, I mean your Roland Martins, your Mark Lamont Hills, and your Jamel Hills, and all the other people. And I was kind of shocked to see Godfrey, the comedian, on there, who's usually about the wokeness and stuff, and no shade, but he is not African American, if you will. I think he's from Haiti or something like that. But anyway, so you have all these usual suspects who are trying to draw a correlation from his shows. Like, for instance, when he was playing Cliff Huxtable on the Cosby Show, he was an OBGYN, right? And so they're saying, well, he could have been a dentist, but he chose to be an OBGYN. And so trying to say that he was some sort of a pervert by trying to do different things. And they took different scenes from the Cosby Show and saying, well, why did he do that scene? It was a scene of Denise and her boyfriend at the time on the show, Lisa Bonet's character, and they were kissing, and he was kind of narrating with Claire from afar, and they were trying to, basically say that that was perverse, and that was his way of, they said, leaving breadcrumbs that trying to tell us who he was. So basically trying to say he was hiding in plain sight, and we all missed these clues. And so really, when I watched the trailer, I'm like, I will not watch any of the 4-part series at all, because it is a hit piece. And we've seen this before, haven't we? We've seen this with R. Kelly. We've seen this with Michael Jackson. Listen, I'm not saying R. Kelly didn't do something. He did. But we saw what they did. And shortly after that, R. Kelly was brought up on charges, and he's probably never, ever, ever, ever going to get out of prison. And so I feel this is the same thing that they're trying to do to Bill Cosby. They couldn't get him, with the court of law. He was able to get out of that. Now, mind you, Bill Cosby is 84 years old. And so they are still trying and gunning for Bill Cosby. And this is the thing here. They use Kamau Bell, who is a black man. Again, he's married to a white woman, and he talks about wokeness and black people, this, that, and the other. They used a black man to try to take down a black man. You know why they did that? So it can look more palatable. Well, here's a black man, because usually when we see it, like with the R. Kelly thing, it was a woman, Dream, whatever her name is. She fashioned this documentary, and there's a whole bunch of women and stuff. There was some men too, but it was led by women. But now they have it led by a black man, so it can look like, well, look, there's a black man. He's the one that put this together, so it must be something, right? Now watch Kamau Bell talk to Trevor Noah, and he was saying that how he was kind of apprehensive to put it out because he got a lot of negative feedback about it. And he said that he asked a whole lot of other people would they join in on the documentary, and they said, no, we are not going to do this. We don't want to do it. And so he says the day, the last day that they shot this was the day that Bill Cosby got out. And so he was like, okay, well, maybe I don't have to do this. But he was like, no, I have to do it for the victims and all this blah, 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 right? And so we're going to have a conversation about this and see what you guys think about this hit piece. We need to talk about Bill Cosby, and if you think it's something we need to talk about, or if it's just simply a hit piece by white supremacy using a black man. So, Donovan, what say you before we get started?
Well, first of all, I think this is something that we really got to ask ourselves. Can you actually be pro-black or woke or whatever you want to call it and be married to a white person? I mean, I think that's a legitimate question to ask. Some people say yes, some people say no. Me, I don't think so. And if you are, it's a confusing message. Black, 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 black. But I got Becky over here. Remember that episode in what's I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker? Clarence Williams III and Jan Brady comes out. My brother, my sister, the white, whatever. But here's the funny thing. When Mr. Ball, Kamau Ball, whatever his name is, was doing the circuit on this, as this recently came out in the last weeks, do you guys remember what channel he went to first to talk about this? It was CBS. Gail, Oprah's friend, stuff like that. Now, who was on that show before all this really this thing broke out? Oh, Charlie Rose. Oh, wow. And then who was the head of CBS Paramount at the time that also got removed?
Les Moonbeam.
Right. Another white executive. So my question is this. You can put out all you want to put out on black men. This is why I disregard anything until I start seeing hit pieces on these white executives and all these other people, the Prince Edwards and whoever these other people are that are under all these sexual things. I personally discontinue anything else. Bill Cosby's rights were violated. Let's talk about that. Why aren't we talking about how his rights were violated? But you never want to see that. So let's get into the comments because I see a lot of great questions and comments there.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you so much, Cecil. I appreciate that. And Reggie, how you doing? He says, greetings, global black family. And Cecil, he says, because she is natural and she deals with the truth. I appreciate that. And Facts Not Feelings says, Cosby is innocent. Women need to stop using wealthy men to try to get to retirement age without working. And Jafia says, yes, he is married to a white woman. Yeah. And, I just found that out today. Donovan told me right before we got on here. I was doing a little bit of research on him. And I was like, okay. And one who cares. No. Robin, you say it's a hit piece. They would have put it out had they wouldn't have put it out. They would have, put it out had Cosby not been released from prison. Yeah. And it said that, as I said, that he got out on the last day of shooting. And, he said he thought about asking Bill Cosby to join in on it, but he didn't want to offend the victim. So he didn't. And one who cares, he says, he's a unfunny guy, in my opinion. He's a bootleg. I only started hearing about him.
Failed comic.
Yeah, I only started hearing about him when I saw him do documentaries and stuff on CNN. I didn't even know he was a comic. It doesn't seem like he'd be too funny. Jafia says, after she and her mother ran through the money, they came back for more. Yes, Andrea, the one that got $3 million from Bill Cosby during a settlement, she did run through the money. And she filed, I think within less than a week of, I guess, the statute of limitations or whatever it was, that was going to run out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like right in the nick of time, right?
And she was the last victim who was eligible to file. Correct. I mean, that they know of. So.
And they used a lot of hearsay, witnesses and all that kind of stuff. It was just, just a lot. And Easy, how you doing? It says, hello, D, Donovan and friends. And Donovan says, welcome to the Meet Your Case show. And then we got a spammer bot thing here. Okay.
Yeah, I already took care of it.
All right. And Fight for Black says, the DA you're speaking of, Queen Demetra, ran on the platform of getting Cosby. Yes, exactly. Anastasia says, Godfrey is Nigerian. I knew he was something. So yes, Nigerian. And Robin says, I'm not impressed. Now, if he did a hit piece about some of these white dudes that the lame stream media is silent on, then I would be impressed. Right. But, I saw is it A&E, I think it is. They're trying to do something about Hugh Hefner and the Playboy Mansion. Is like, I'm not impressed about that one either. And Reggie says, Godfrey is Nigerian, but was born and raised in America. Okay, got it. And Jeremy has awakened. How you doing? He says, hey, everyone, working in the garden. Well, don't work too hard. And Angela, how you doing? And Ciela Trey, how you doing? He says, let's talk about Andrea Constance said in her deposition, she gave a Valentine's gift after it happened. Why give a Valentine's gift after? Right. And then one of the other ladies who played on the Cosby Show, she was the pregnant lady. I can't think of the Miss Menifee or whatever her name was. She claimed that Bill Cosby did something to her before she played that role. So you're saying that he did something to you, and then you went on and took the acting role. And she says, well, I wanted to act. And so it's like,
of course, you got to get the bag at all costs. Then you play victim once the money runs out.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, lady, really? And one who cares, you say initially Cosby was going to be a plumber and his wife was going to have a regular job. Also, it was producers that changed that narrative. Interesting. And Jafia said they are pulling an OJ on Cosby. Yep. In fact, now feeling says R. Kelly only did what all the other zaddies in the industry was doing. Did not say it was right. No, absolutely, he did. But y'all know, as Black people, we can't do what they do and get away with it. You
Right.
know what I mean?
And as a disclaimer, we are not upping sexual assault in any way, form,
Oh
or
no,
shape.
no, no.
Yeah.
But it just, it needs to be talked about. I mean, I think I believe Bill Cosby. I'm one of those people who are on the side of Bill Cosby. Did he do some things that was not so on the up and up? Yeah, I mean, he's married, and I think really that's where the issue is between him and his wife. But did those
Right.
women willingly go to his mansion and other places? Yeah, they went.
Well, the way I view it is this: he was a man of his time in Hollywood in the 1930s, 40s. If you read the book of all the greats, Betty Davis, Joan Crawford, all of the great ones back then, you couldn't get a role without being on that casting couch. I mean, that was the
It's
way it
not right,
was.
but yeah. And let's see here. And Donovan says, "Can you be woke and be married to a white person?" Well, we talked about this yesterday, but I'm going to get into that just a little bit later. And Anastasia says, "Carolyn Bryant is living her best life. When are they going after her?" Yeah, Carolyn Bryant is the one that accused Emmett Till of whistling at her, and you guys know the story about that. And feds, the Biden administration, basically said, "We're not going to pursue that anymore. You guys go on about your life. We're sorry it happened, but we're not going to pursue her." So.
Wait, the Biden administration once again takes something that is sacred to Black people and just throws it to the wayside? What a surprise.
Something like that. And Fight for Black says he never admitted to sexually assaulting anyone. Kamau Bell knows that exactly. He never did. He in the deposition that was supposed to be sealed, he talked about I guess maybe it was uppers or downers or something.
Quaaludes, which is prevalent.
What it was, but yeah, he never did. It doesn't sound like he said he did it against her will, type of thing. And Donovan says, "Did you know that the documentary was funded by white folks and major studios?" Yes, and most of the people on the I think Kamal is the only Black producer, and all of that on it. Everybody else is white. No surprise, right? Showtime. And Jafia says, "Donovan, how can you be woke while sleeping with the enemy?" We're gonna talk about it. And Robin, you say no. And Fight for Black says we need to protect Bill Cosby on this issue. I totally agree, because to me, when I watched the trailer, it's like y'all are trying to string clues together. Now, admittedly, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw the trailer. Clues together from is sitcoms. Okay.
So wait a minute. So we are going to nitpick Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids?
Yeah, I'm sure that's coming into play too.
Oh Lord, I'm done.
And Monet says, "Leave a Bill alone. We have other things to deal with." Yes, indeed. And Kiki, how you doing? Says, "Wow, so they're still bothering him." Wow, shaking my head. Oh yeah, they got a 4-part documentary coming out, and they gonna go all in.
Well, Kiki, you got to remember, when it comes to Black people, they will not only will kill your reputation in life, they will kill your reputation in death as well. Look what they're doing to Michael Jackson. Look what they're doing to Prince. They pull out all this stuff that has nothing to do with anything, and the men and ladies can't even defend themselves.
And Anastasia said, "It's so funny to me how people could tell you what your Blackness and wokeness looks like. Not all of us are stupid and mesmerized by white folks." Very true. You also say, "I was margined,
married
to, yes, married to a Black man." Okay. And Five for Black says CBS, and One Who Cares says Casey just tied the game. So Kansas City just tied the game. Okay. And Kiki says, "I'm not familiar with him, never heard of him." Yeah, I started hearing of him when I saw him doing documentaries on CNN. And yes, Fight for Black, Les Moonves, of course, he got in a whole bunch of trouble for being, sexually assault women and all that. And he was the CEO, if you will, of CBS, and he had to resign.
Married to an Asian and still married to an Asian. That's why the talk show The Chew went on hiatus, because she was one of the hosts of it, and she was backing her husband.
Yeah, she says, I'm leaving with him, and I mean, I'm not necessarily mad at her. I mean, what's she supposed to do, right? And Anastasia says, "I was married to a Black man and he wanted nothing to do with Black issues." Yeah, so that's why I said we're going to talk about it just a little bit at that clear these comments, because there's levels to that. And Cecil, you say, "No way." And Fight for Black says, "Roman Polanski, what about that creep?" Yeah, I mean, he won an Oscar after he was found
years after.
Yes, he's found guilty of assaulting a 13-year-old. All they needed to do was sentence him, and his lawyer overheard the judge in the bathroom saying that he was going to throw the book at him. and he took off. And so
Yeah,
that's what happened.
and he's never returned to the United States, but yet major studios will still work with him as long as he stays out of the United States.
Right. And Rex, how you doing? He says, much love to you too. They always got to tear down any black who's prominent. Absolutely. Don, how you doing? He says, hey, Dimitri and Donovan, Bell is a raccoon. Yes, he is. Pamela, how you doing? He says, Donovan, you are not watching the football games today.
No, the Dallas Cowboys aren't playing.
Reggie says Kamau Bell needs to go have a seat. Yeah, you know, he knows what he's doing because I'm sure he sees all of the backlash on Twitter and all throughout the internet of people invoking his name like, you are a bootleg, dude. You're doing this at the behest of white supremacy. You know damn well we don't need to keep talking about Bill Cosby. You know it. Sunlight, how are you? And Pfeiffer Black says, Bell is a failed comedian, typical to crap on a black man or woman for bitter, I think he meant butter biscuits and a pat on the head. And Jafai says, Jamal and Wanda Sykes had a comment, I think he meant Kamal, and Wanda Sykes had a conversation on his show about what it's like to be married to a white woman. It was funny because they both mentioned black women in the conversation. Yeah, they're both married to white women, right? If I'm not mistaken. And Kiki says, okay, some may not like this, but a brother and I were discussing this last night. Here's my thing. Whatever these people are doing, though, they can't do it without cooperation from black people. So that poses the real question. Are the others, quote unquote, the real problem? Or is the problem these black folks who keep willing to be used by the others? Now, I totally agree with you. Come on, sis. You know, we as black people, not us, but them, sign up to get on the bandwagon. Like I said, the usual suspects like Jamel Hill, your Roland Martin, he's in it. No shock there, right? And Mark Lamont Hill. Of course, there's no shock with none of those three because Jamel Hill is often on Twitter. I haven't seen her lately, but on Twitter, talking very disparagingly about black men, right? And of course, Roland Martin, he is going to do anything white supremacy tells him to do. And Mark Lamont Hill, he tries to straddle the fence, but he is who he is, right?
Well, but that's society today. It's about getting the next job or the next payday. Simone Sanders, she leaves the VP's office to go work for MSNBC to be a Democratic shill or PR spinmeister on that platform. Al Sharpton, at one time, white folks hated Al Sharpton because he was talking truth. Then all of a sudden he gets a show. And all of a sudden, he ain't talking all that bullshit no more. And that's the culture that we've brought out. I mean, even in our young people, get the bag at all costs. Go sell drugs, go do this, go do that at all costs, at the cost of your neighborhood or your family or whatever. That is what we've spent into, and people just going to get the bag.
Yes, indeed. And Kiki says, who should be dealt with and addressed first? And Anastasia says, they said Nancy Reagan was a great head doctor.
Yeah, she had a reputation in Hollywood of being a good head doctor, right?
Got it. Well, I said, oh, she didn't say no to that, huh? And Moni says, so here's my thing, gorgeous people. This is kind of becoming a reiterated situation. Mr. Cosby was lied on, like so many black men who have money. Bottom line is he's out of jail now. What? They want him back.
Wait. Many black men that have money, many black men that don't have money get lied on. We are not the father.
Right. Well, you know, now what is they want him back in jail. That's what they want. They want to try to bring up some new to nail him to the cross.
Yeah. It's the same thing with OJ. White people want to put him back in jail right now. They got him that second time because he wouldn't want to lay low. But that's what they want to do. When they think that you got to face justice, they're going to do everything they can to do it.
Right. Sunlight says, no one talks much about Camille Cosby, who stood by his side throughout the trial after being embarrassed in front of the world. Yes. And, you know, I just tend to believe that Camille knew this is going on, you know, from the 60s.
The 70s. It was the 70s.
Right. So she knew. I don't know if she was a long-suffering wife and that that's men gonna play type of thing. I know, because the thing is, Camille has not said anything, although we know that she is and has stood by his side. So
see now, wait a minute. Remember, I keep saying people of a generation are people of their time. I'm not saying it makes it right, but times change and standards change, right? You know, why is it? And I'm not like trying to bash women or nothing like that. I believe Camille knew if she didn't partake herself. It was the 70s. A lot of shit was going on back then. So, you know, If you look at stories of rockers and stuff having group sex and all this other stuff, they did that all the time. There's stories of Red Fox. He would have full-blown orgies at his place with all kinds of prominent stars. So the likelihood that Camille knew was very great. It's very great.
Right. Yeah, I mean, how do you go to a married man's house repeatedly and you know he's married? I mean, come on. And Mona says, as many people that are on one side are one-sided because you have many that will have a Becky on their arm and a Zaddy that keep hitting them from the public. I think he meant hiding them from the public media because they're scared they're not going to get views called out. And he also say, but at the same time, my notion comes to this: once a man has been found not guilty and they were released, those that tried to keep him in jail is just pissed. Let's talk of Supreme Court Black female. We'll talk about that in just a few because that is very important. I just want to get to the rest of these comments. And Cecil says, it's isn't it strange that when they started after Bill Cosby, his son died or was murdered, and his daughter apparently died or was murdered, and everybody white starts coming against Bill Cosby. Yes, indeed. I don't believe those are coincidences either. And Jafia says, remember how they brought Mike Tyson down? Whatever happened to the lying B that helped bring him down? Exactly.
Yeah, and she also got a settlement out of that as well, and punitive damages and stuff, and we haven't heard from her since. And the last I heard, though, honestly, about her, that particular young lady, was she was a news broadcaster somewhere in Buffalo, New York, or in that area.
From what I understand, she had to change her name or something.
Yeah, she had to change her name and stuff. So, you know, she's keeping a low profile, I guess.
Yep. And Cecil says his wife stuck by him because she knows the whole truth and how they fabricated everything. Yeah, and that could be it too. In fact, now Phyllis says most Euros are cultured to be racist in the USA. So the interracial marriage thing with Euros is usually not beneficial for the masses of Blacks. Gilvetta, how you doing? He says, good evening, Demetra K. and Donovan and Black First Family. Yes, indeed. And Cecily says, it is good that Demetra K speaks about Bill Cosby because she is being for real about the information that she is gathering to report about cautiously. Yes, you know, I mean, I just think we need to look at things for the facts, right? Not the feelings. Facts, not feelings. We need to look at the facts, you know, and of course, when they, being white supremacy, put together a well glossy documentary and it looks all, I mean, if you listen to the trailer, the music to the trailer sound, I will play it for y'all, but I don't want to get a strike. It sounds like a horror movie. If you listen to the music, that's the background.
Is it like the Current Affair with the?
No, it's really eerie. Like a creepy type of. You would think it's a horror movie, and that's done on purpose. If you guys know anything about production and stuff like that, they set different types of music to different movies or scenes to set a tone, and that tone is very scary if you really think about it.
Yeah.
And Kimmy says, "Roly Poly Martin." Yes, indeed. And how you doing, by the way? And Thunder says, "Professor Black Truth showed where they said they didn't even speak to Cosby Camp when they made this. They felt it was unnecessary. Sounds kind of biased to me. Also, they thought he'll still be in jail. Yes, they. The last day of filming is when he got out, and Kamau did say he thought about asking him to do it, to be in on it, but he didn't want to offend the victims."
But then, okay, you couldn't get the other side of the story, so why put this out at all then? And basically, this documentary means nothing. It's toilet paper.
Well, because they were never interested in getting the other side of the story. It's a hit piece, right? Jafia says Steve Collins of Seventh Heaven admitted to child molestation, and he's still on TV. Yes, indeed, a white man. And Marjorie, how you doing? He says Black First. Hashtag stay on cold family. Hashtag we have no friends for real. Yes, indeed. And how you doing, by the way? And Honeydew, what's going on with you? Thunny say it looks like they just found a bunch of pieces of him speaking and fix it together to make it look like he was trying to say something. This is just getting ridiculous. Yep. And that's kind of what I drew from the trailers. Like, what is this? It's not, you guys are now you're reaching, And Fight for Black says they want Bill Cosby back in jail to keep him from suing all involved in his incarceration. Yeah, because he did say something about, I will be, digging into this with my lawyers.
Well, you got to think about it. 3 years of his life was taken. How much is that worth?
Yes, indeed. And Easy says Moist Lamont Hill and his cronies are a joke. Yes, indeed. And Marjorie says, tell it. And Cecil says, it is good that Demetria K speaks about Bill Cosby in the way that she does because she's speaking of him in a positive light whenever everyone else only speaks of the negative. Yeah, I mean, I like Bill Cosby. I like what he did and has done and is doing for the culture. And Sunlight says, I never said she didn't know. I said she stood by him after being embarrassed in front of the world. I highly doubt she wanted to be on public display behind his BS. No, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we didn't say what you're saying was wrong or anything. We were just expounding on it.
Yes, indeed. I agree with you though. And Kiki says, yes, Camille knew. I believe that, but she came from a generation of Black women who understood certain things. She know he was out there playing. His number one rule was probably just don't bring home no outside babies, and it was all good. Yeah, a lot of women were like that. Like, hell, I got the money, I got the house. I know he's gonna do that. I can't stop him. Listen, I'm not justifying that because I wouldn't want nobody to do that to me. But I think even today, a lot of women are in that position. Like, wow, what can I do? You know, he comes home sometimes, and I got the money.
Well, isn't Cardi B in a situation like that? She's married to a man that constantly goes out there and has babies, and she sticks with him.
I mean, I don't know if that's
not in that aspect, but you see what I'm saying? It's nothing new. This is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, and you know, for legal purposes, because Cardi B do like to sue people. I don't know if that's true or not. And Robin says Bill did the settlement to spare Camille from going through the court shenanigans, and he apologized to her for it. That's why she stood by him. He had already told her about this. Yeah, so to your point, none of that was new. They just brought it up again. So good point. And Fast Not Feeling said, laugh out loud and get better. Says Demetria, I didn't get an alert. Don't know what's going on. Yeah, they keep talking about these shadow bans and stuff.
Yeah, it's a shadow ban. If you don't get an alert, see what it is the Democratic Party, they're leaning on these groups and pressuring them to not get these messages out because a lot of you guys are waking up and we're talking not just regionally, we're talking nationwide. So that's a reason why you do it. Just know Demetria comes on at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday.
Yes, indeed. And Facts Not Feeling says the documentary is really a propaganda hit piece on Cosby and all Black men by extension. Very good point. And again, they're using a Black man to do it. And Kiki says, yep, they set a tone with that music to make the person they're referring to sound menacing. It's very calculating. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, there was an episode in The Simpsons. Remember when Homer Simpson in the early days of The Simpsons, he got accused of sexual harassment? And they would use that menacing music to make him look like a monster, you know, and they brought that out in the episode. The Simpsons is very futuristic and, you know, and what they were thinking and how they went about it.
And Cecil says, AI is changing my words. It's very possible. YouTube does. I don't know what they do, but they do. And he says, you're retracting my statements. Yeah. I don't know why they do that, but it ain't me. So I apologize for that happening to you. And Thunder says, and if you're interested in hearing the other side of the story, Dr. Boyce Watkins has an interview with Bill Cosby's lawyer. Are you where you get to hear the complete other side? I'd be interested in listening to that. And Gilberto says, to me, it seems like everything started going downhill when Bill Cosby wanted to purchase that network. And that's what they're saying. I looked into it. I don't know how true that is, if he was really trying to purchase NBC, because that has been a rumor that they, you know, started gunning for him since then. I know that he was trying to purchase something big, but yeah, I mean, you know, they don't want anybody who is waking people up, right? And trying to do things for Black people, the betterment of Black people. And Sunlight says Offset has outside kids.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who's that guy that has like 7 different babies. I don't know if it's Offset, so please forgive me about that.
Yeah, it's at the I don't know,
Future or who, I don't know who these kids are, but that guy keeps making, you know, and they just let it happen. There's nothing they can do about it.
And Thunder says, also, does anyone else find it weird that usually with a large case like this, you always hear the defense attorney speaking on the news? They never played a single thing he had to say. I wonder why. Good point. And Amani says, Bill Cosby's son Ennis died in the early mid-90s. He wasn't really being pursued like he is in modern times, because he was pursued when he wanted to buy NBC, and they didn't want a Black man owning NBC. And Arson, how are you doing? He says, hey, you two, have you guys been? We've been fabulous. And he says, I'm so late, but it's exactly like Donovan said. If you won't get the other side of the story, why the hell would you release anything? # destruction of our people. It's a hit piece. And Marjorie says, the question is, who's behind it all and what's the agenda? Could Cosby be a distraction from the norm that we've been focusing on? # reparations now. I mean, it could be, or really could be that They are mad, as they said with OJ, he got away, right? So they made sure they got him. R. Kelly got away. They made sure they got him. They tried to get Michael Jackson. It failed a copious amount of times. And if you believe, that Dick Gregory, and I do, Michael Jackson was taken from us via his doctor. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it could be a distraction. But
what about Prince? What about, I mean, a lot of these icons that were just made a lot of money in these industries, gone.
Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, when you listen to the interview with Mr. Cosby lawyer, he reveals a lot of things, and it will make you it will make sense why they're doing what they're doing to this man. I have to check it out. And Moni says, but God is good, and he has not had no money. Who's to say what would have been in his ending fate? Thank God he did have the money and can afford legal representation. Without it, he's screwed. Yeah, he's worth, like, was it 400 million or something like that? But Bill Cosby's papered up, right? Ain't got to worry about no money. And Kimmy says, please like and share this live. Yes, and please, and thank you. Deadshot, how are you? And Robin says, I follow Bill Cosby on social media. I've been following him for years. He's really an okay guy. I've had the honor of speaking with him after he was released. Oh, wow.
Oh, right on. Okay, good. Again, a lot of these people like Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor and stuff like that, you hear all this craziness that they go through, but these people opened up a lot of doors for a lot of Black, not just the actors, the people in the productions, and gave them the writers and people that do the other things outside of that when it was not even limited to us. And this is what they do to these guys because they're doing things like that.
And we help them do it, unfortunately. And Cecil says, absolutely none of this was public information or private in the open until they decided to take down Bill Cosby for his land with oil, and it as well for wanting to buy his own TV studio. So yes, I have heard those things too. And Kiki says, are you talking about Nick Cannon? I think he was talking about Future. And says,
and going back to what Cecil was saying, now isn't it funny that, and I'm not a Tyler Perry fan, but I'm not against him either. They let certain people have certain studios that put out certain content that make either Black men look like shit or raccoons or women look like whores or whatever. Isn't that strange how Tyler Perry is allowed to do his little situation there, but Bill Cosby can't, who was putting out positive streams of Black people going to college and, doctors and lawyers and these positive. I'm not saying Tyler Perry isn't doing that, but some of his stuff is very, very questionable.
Just wait till he steps out of line. And Marnie says, well, quite a few Bill Cosby accusers are standard white supremacists, and you know how they feel about Black people as a whole. I'm not surprised. I'm sorry that he even had to do time. If he didn't have the money, he's screwed. Yes, indeed. And Dr. No Job, how are you? Says, Bill Cosby never did a Christmas Cosby show. I did not know that. Interesting. And Gilberto says, so Donovan, you're talking about Future with all the kids. And Jafai says, both Future and Nick Cannon have a lot of different baby moms, but Nick takes care of all of his children. Yes, he does. And Cortez, how you doing? He says, they tried to get Kobe Bryant. Yes, they did. And they still tried to get him not long after he died via Gayle King. And y'all saw how that worked out for her.
Thank God for Lisa Leslie. Thank God for Lisa Leslie telling her, we ain't even going to go there.
Now, big ups to Snoops, who was like, he squashed all of that, okay?
What do you have to gain by this?
And Moni says to me, Demetra, he says, I really want to say that this new Black Supreme Court justice is going to open up many doors. I'm not necessarily looking for her to do a whole lot, but to open doors for future Black ladies. We'll talk about that. So keep that in mind. In facts, not feelings, you say, contrary to popular belief, most women are okay with sharing a wealthy man. You're right. Wouldn't be me, but you're right about them. And Mr. Pirate Brain, how are you? Says Cosby was worth $1 billion. They took half of his money. Yeah, he was getting pretty close. I do know that. Jafai says Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney, her daughter, and her daughter's murderer were all taken from us. Good point. I don't think any of those were conspiracies. Yeah. Coincidences either.
Yeah, the first thing in an assassination attempt, you kill the assassins.
Yes, indeed. And Kiki says, but it's true. Any Black men who are trying to do something big, they go digging up their past. They did it to Ice Cube when he and LL were trying to purchase that network. They went back years trying to say Ice Cube said something about Jews. I haven't heard anything else about the network situation since then. Yes, I remember that. Very good point. And Facts Not Feelings says facts, Donovan. And Thunder says Bill Cosby lawyer said that the people are so petty that the Homeowners Association gave Mr. Cosby a fine because if a fine was owed to the city, you're not able to get out of jail until you pay it. Lord have mercy. Man, they was gunning for him big time, huh? And Marjorie says, let's remember to that these news feeds and media corporations are losing ratings. So why not bring up Bill Cosby again? Low ratings, changes in commentators. Very good point. And Easy says to allow music actors and sports icons to reach their peak and then stage events to bring them down to prevent the rise of the Black Messiah. Yes. And Sunlight says Lisa Leslie, facts about Lisa Leslie. Yeah, and she didn't take the bait, which I really love because, her and Kobe were like best friends. And Robin says they even fined Camille because the grass was mowed when I think it wasn't mowed when Cosby was in prison just days before he was released or was mowed. Yeah, that's crazy. What do they have to say about that, right? And let's see here. Anastasia says God was good to Cosby. Well, can God be good to me by not allowing me to even go through it? How about that? Okay, and so who said that, if you don't mind me asking? And Kiki says, what doors? It's not going to open up anything. It's just something else Biden is doing to shut Black people and be able to say, I did something for Black people. And that's because he doesn't plan on doing much else. You better believe it.
Let me say this real quick in regards to a Supreme Court justice. Having one person on there in a groupthink, that doesn't change much because it's one of 9. So how much would a Black person do? Clarence Thomas has been on there. We know how that worked out, but we're going to get into it.
We're going to get into that. Yeah, let me finish these comments and we'll get into that. And Robin says because the grass was not mowed. Okay, that's what you meant. And Sean, how you doing? He says conservatives outnumber the liberal justice on the Supreme Court. Hate to say she won't make a difference. Good point. And Cecil says it's not your fault, Demetra K. No apology from you is necessary. We know who the enemy is. The internet was invented and procreated by us and stolen by the patent office. Yes, indeed. And Anastasia, you say it's not strange. It's white supremacy and it's a reason his initials are TP because he don't put anything out but shit. Jafia, you say they went after Ice Cube, but allowing bootleg Ice-T to ride under the radar. Right. He had a whole song about murking cops, right? With his group Body Count. And Kiki says exactly.
Weren't you a dancer behind them?
No.
Oh.
And LL, how you doing? He says, good evening, Demetra and the recovering Democrat. How are you? And love your show. Big hugs. Thank you. And Gavetta says, right, Donovan is not going to change nothing. And let's see here. And Kiki says, I'm tired of Black folks being satisfied with the dust from the breadcrumbs because they are not even giving us breadcrumbs anymore. So Donovan, you want to go ahead and usher in a conversation about the Supreme Court justice?
Okay, yeah, everybody's getting, and I did a podcast on that earlier today in regards to this Supreme Court justice. Now, me and Demetra were talking on her podcast yesterday in regards to what was going on. I'm intellectually stimulated to look at what's beneath the surface, and I happen to know half of those judges that were nominated are married to white men. And we said earlier in the day, in the conversation about can you be pro-Black and be married to another person, and that's all based on your experiences or whatever. So this one lady that seems to be the front runner, and the one that they vetted so far seems to be the front runner. She's about 55 years old. Isn't that the one from Clarence Thomas? Wasn't she nominated by Clarence Thomas?
So her name is J. Michelle Childs, and she has been selected, handpicked by that of Jim Clyburn. They're both from South Carolina. And so
right now that tells you all you need to know right there. If she comes from Clyburn, that tells you a lot right there. So here's my point, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Here's my point with that, and and again, Moni, I love you to death, and like that, and everybody's opinion is valid. Doesn't mean it's right, but it is valid. We have a lot of people that love symbolism, and I talked about that on my podcast. They put this person up, a Black woman, and if it wasn't for the fact that he used that during the campaign, he wouldn't have done that because now his back's up against the wall. So he has to put a Black woman up, and his poll numbers are tanking. So he figures, well, I'm going to throw this up there and then we'll see what happens. Right. Okay. You got a lot of Black people. Woo! Ski wee. We got a Black woman. Okay. I don't give a damn who you put up there being a black woman. One black woman is not going to change a 9-member panel. And I was telling Demetra before we started the show, what you really got to do is research. Let's look at their activism on the court, or at least before they married the white dude, and see how pro-black they were after they got married. Because let's face it, ladies, you don't want to disturb your husband or insult your husband because you're on this pro-black kick and all this other stuff. So this is, once again, you got a lot of black women and a lot of black people happy to see a black face that is not going to get us anything. We need tangibles. We don't want tangibles. We need it. This lady is not going to do a damn thing. Look at Clarence Thomas right there. That's a black man that when it comes to black issues, he doesn't say a word. And he's married to a white woman who is an insurrectionist supporter. So let me hear you guys' thoughts on that.
All right, so let's get into these comments. And Anastasia says, yes, black people as usual, happy with the crumbs off the dog bowl versus the building our own table and expecting more. Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, Rosewood, Tulsa, Camp Logan, and Jack Johnson, they use the same play, the predator, black man and white woman, women. This is the golden blackjack that doesn't miss. And now the black women are their attack German shepherds. Woo, that's a hell of a statement right there. But yeah, I mean, seems like that's what the playbook, to use black women against black men, especially in high profile. And Rashawn,
wait a minute, but isn't black women talking about they're the backbone of the Democratic Party? Ladies, black ladies out there listening, please answer this question for me. If you're the backbone of the Democratic Party, why can't we get anything? Why can't anything get passed?
Well, he was talking in relation. He's talking about in relations to them using black women to bring down black men.
Oh, no, I understand that. But my thing is the Democratic Party, y'all love all this symbolism. If you're the backbone of the Democratic Party, why can't we get anything done in regards specifically to black people, not people of color, black people?
And Ray Shine says, hello, Queen Demetra, Brother Donovan, and room, and same to you. And Marjorie says, at Demetra and the Recovering Democrat, I came in late, but picked up a great conversation. Truth can break the cold banks of deception. These white supremacist systems pull out every day. We have to be 10 steps ahead. You better believe it. And Sean, you say, wow, you talk about that of the Supreme Court justice. And Robin says, Supreme Court justice are vetted. Rest assured, whoever is picked won't be for black issues. Yep. And if you do your research, you'll start to understand why what you're saying is true and is problematic with some of these people, right? And Harold, how you doing? He says, black first, yes, indeed. And Sean says, straight facts. And Marjorie says, say that. Facts not feeling says, even 9 black persons on the Supreme Court will not help blacks unless those judges go out their way to openly protect black victims of the state and the legal system. Member Jim Crow Joe put Thomas on.
Yes, and disparage black women. Exactly. He disparaged black women doing it.
Mm-hmm. And Marjorie says the old tokenism trick. Yes. And Sunlight says, I have seen much rallying behind this latest example of symbolism, to be honest. You haven't seen it, rather, to be honest. I haven't seen it just yet, but I guess, it's for us, as Marjorie says, I think it was, that we need to stay 10 steps ahead. Because it's coming. They're going to try to sell it to black people as this is a win for black people. This has never, ever, ever, ever been done before. A black woman on the Supreme Court justice. And this is, one step for man. What is it? For man and one giant, whatever it is, for mankind.
That's God leap for mankind.
Yeah, they're going to try to play it that way. And of course, we as black people overall, not us, but them, are going to.
Or when asked on a debate stage, what have you done for black people? That's a notch that they can say, well, we put a black woman in the Supreme Court. We gave you Juneteenth. So we've done something, especially do that when you're arguing with older people. We got to give them time. We got to do that. He did this. And that's going to be their talking point when they come back at you. Well, we got Juneteenth.
And facts not feelings, you made a good point that, somebody sitting on the Supreme Court really doesn't make a difference, because the Supreme Court does not make law, they interpret law, and it's really up to Congress. So we'd be better off getting better black people in Congress that is going to do stuff for black people, opposed to waiting for an issue that is less than 10% of cases make it to the Supreme Court anyway. Like, people think, I'm going to appeal to the Supreme Court, if God willing, because they see and hear less than 10% of the cases. And so that's really not going to help black people a whole lot, right?
Tasha K says she's going to the Supreme Court. I believe her.
Okay. TJ, how you doing? He says, yes, Donovan. And Gilberto says, is her husband Dr. Floyd Angus, MD? No, he's black. He is a black man. The other two are married to a white man. And the other two is Leandra Jackson and Leandra Kruger and Katanji Jackson. Those are the other two. And, if you look into their background, it's problematic. I think it's Katanji, or maybe it's Leandra. She's from California, and it says she's liberal when it comes to civil cases, but conservative when it comes to criminal. That's a big uh-oh for us as Black people. And Sean says, true. And Jafia says, I don't personally know Judge Michelle, but she is my sister's neighbor in Columbia, South Carolina. According to my sister, Judge Michelle is a real down to earth sister. Okay.
So is Clarence Thomas. He's a down brother. He plays the role when he's in the neighborhood. I mean, I'm not saying what you're saying is not true because I don't know the person. I go by their public record. Like I said, what's his name? John Lewis. Oh, he's an icon. We don't even call Martin Luther King an icon. But then he's an icon, but you look at his record over 30 years sitting in Congress, not a damn thing done for Black people.
Well, I do know one of the things that she ruled on in South Carolina recently is that employers they can deny employment to people who are not jabbed up, if you will. So I don't know if that's really a good thing. It depends on how you see the mandates or whatever, but that's one of the
41% of Black businesses have mom and pop businesses in the United States have closed, by the way.
And Cecil says
over these mandates.
Cecil says all of these people who were true so-called Black leaders, big and small, not the ones that white supremacists put up, are our leaders who are really just bootlickers. Yes, indeed. And Anastasia says one of the comments was God was good to him because he had the money for a lawyer. Damn that intercede, and I won't need the money to defend myself. Okay. And Thandi says, oh, Donovan, great question. And Robin says, have y'all noticed that all of them have natural hair, locks, and braids? 4 of them have white husbands. These candidates have been vetted and groomed.
Oh, Robin, it seems like you were watching The Black Authority. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead. Yeah, he talked about that and that's kind of interesting what he brought up.
I have not watched The Black Authority. I know you guys keep telling me to. I haven't watched them. But the only one that's been invited to this point, unless something's changed in the last couple of hours or so, is that of J. Michelle Childs. She's the only one that has been invited to the White House to be vetted, for that position. The other people are still just kind of speculations, but she is the only one that has officially been invited to be vetted to this point. And let's see here. And Anastasia, Jim Clyburn picked her. Nope. So nope. Exactly right. And Thunder says, who's been the backbone for the community for the last 60 years?
According to a lot of the leading Black leaders out there and entertainers and all this other stuff, Black women have been the backbone of the Democratic Party. That's what they're saying out there because, Black men ain't shit.
Well, the funny part about it is they do say that Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, but Black men was only a couple of percentages behind Black women in voting for the Democrats. So I know Black women get that moniker, if you will, of being the backbone of the Democratic Party. But again, Black men were not that far behind them percentage-wise. So I just wanted to put that out there. And let's see here. And Anastasia says they give Black people visibility, not power. Very good point. And Kiki says they are. Black women are the backbone. That's why they keep catering to them, their biggest voting base. But yeah, Black women aren't even getting anything. I mean, Black women still in the United States, under childbirth are still dying disproportionately to that of their white counterparts and anybody else because we get inadequate health care. So to Donovan's point, that Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party and sending these candidates to Washington. Why aren't they sending candidates that are actually going to help their people, including themselves, right?
But, you guys send your spokesman, Cardi B, and she says, we just want to be respected. That's all we want. Okay.
Well, I mean, but again, I'm not mad at Cardi B. Cardi B doesn't have any power. We're the ones that's sending the people that are having Cardi B do the speaking for us. So Cardi B is just doing what Cardi B is doing, but she has no real power. The power is with us, but we keep not using the power and sending the right people to do the job we need them to do. All right. And so let's see here. And Sean says the Thurgood Marshall power got taken away when he became a Supreme Court justice. Hope I spelled his name right. You came really close, but I knew what you meant. And Albert, absolutely right. And Thunder says, who's responsible for the condition of the community for the last 6 years? But I will say that Thurgood Marshall was an advocate for Black people. He didn't get on there and do a Clarence Thomas. He really was tried to be an advocate for Black people. So I hope that helps. And then Thunder, you also say, who's responsible for the condition of the community for the last 60 years? Well, I think it's a collaboration of both Black men and women. Regardless,
Black leadership is responsible for the condition of the community in the last 60 years.
It's Black men and women.
Yeah, Black leadership.
Let me say something. Black leadership cannot be responsible for the condition of Black community because they didn't get there by themselves. We helped them get there by keep sending your Maxine Waters and your Sheila Jackson Lees and your John Lewis.
Don't you talk about Maxine? I'm Maxine. Don't you ever do that.
All those other people that they keep going to Washington and, Barbara Lee's and all them, and they're advocating on the behalf of other people. It's our fault. We keep saying, "Ooh, Maxine, she claiming the time. I just love some Maxine." All the Sheila Jackson Lee, they just have some good old turkeys every Thanksgiving, and we think that's progress. And so we can't blame them because they get in the bag, and we're sending them to continue getting the bag. It's really that simple.
Damn.
I mean, I'm just saying. And I am very sorry. However, anyone that Jim Clyburn nominates, I'm going to look at side eye. There's a reason why. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's suspect in and of itself, right?
We don't need no qualified immunity. I'm 83 years old. I'll be dead, goddammit. So these niggas don't need no qualified immunity. We need to start calling him Uncle Ruckus. I'm sorry. He's the original Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, to Donovan's point, he was cool with getting rid of keeping qualified immunity intact if it meant passing the infrastructure bill. He says, well, we'll forego that with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act if it means getting the infrastructure bill passed, and we'll revisit
so that these white companies can make more money and keep getting money in their pocket. The corporations, who the Democratic Party is in bed with, they get their money, but Negroes getting rights and get the cops from beating on their ass and murdering them. Oh, we could take that out. That we could get that later.
Right. Kiki says nothing is getting done because they can see that Black faces are more important to the Black community than Black progress. Yes, indeed. And Marjorie says Black women are being used again. Damn. And willingly at this point, right? And Gavetta says at Dimitri K, they have already started with that mess. Yep. And we're just trying to get ahead of it. Like, yo, heads up. They're going to try to get out there and say, it's progress.
Yeah, to all my Biden butt kissers out there, how many L's are y'all going to take?
And Anastasia says, but pro-Black doesn't mean anything, and you have to have knowledge of self. 100.
It doesn't mean anti-anything.
And it said pro-Black doesn't mean anti-anything. Got it. He says, and you have to have knowledge of self. Yes, indeed, you do have to have that. And Brandy, what's going on? He said, this is very sad. Why Black women don't see what they're doing? Because it's conditioning. It's conditioning from way back. And that's why we all got to study history. So we'll have a deeper understanding of why things continue the way they do. Black women, even from the plantation, were put in a position of power over the Black man in making decisions for everybody. And usually those decisions was to benefit massa. And so we are still, when I say we, I'm saying Black women collectively, not us, but we are still collectively making those decisions because we want to just make sure massa feels all right. Did I do a good job, massa? Yes, you did, gal. And the rest, we don't care what that means for the rest of our people.
Izzy, I said, take off my boots.
Okay. You want to shave too? And Marjorie says truth. And Thunder says there's an older gentleman asked me, am I happy about the judge that's going to be appointed? I say, what is she going to do? He said, she doesn't have to do anything. My reply was, then why should I be happy? Exactly. He's probably like, well, she's Black. That's good enough, right? And Robin says, exactly. We benefit from them in Congress. This is just symbolism. Absolutely. And Anastasia says, my husband knows I will leave his ass in a Japanese minute down before I trade on my people. That's faster than New York minute, by the way. It sounds like.
And Anastasia, here's my thing, and I always said, and I said this on my podcast earlier, and Dimitri knows I'm the first to say this. When I see somebody marry somebody that they love, why the hell should they be happy? Why the hell should they be happy? So my analogy is, love who you want to love. That's not the problem. The problem is when that love prevents you from speaking up for your particular people in a plight that is basically 70% of the black population is in abject poverty, and we are technically right now a permanent. That means forever underclass, and that's what the route we're going.
Absolutely. And Jafia says the symbolism, it's all symbolism. The Latina that Obama put in office hasn't won anything for people of color. Yeah, you're talking about Justice Sotomayor, Sonia Sotomayor. Yes, indeed.
And you got and wait, and real quick, when we're talking about the justices, notice RGB stayed in there until they carried her out. We got to get rid of these lifetime type situations because you've got a lot of justices in there that are so ineffective. They're just sitting there. But
that would take an act of Congress to change that. And they're not going to do that because they know if they put somebody in there, that's all about their agenda. And, that's a lifetime position. And so they're saying whoever gets appointed now should be young, that embodies some young ideas, some fresh blood and all that, because they're going to be there for a long time. But, if Congress is putting somebody there who's thinking the way they do, they don't want them to go anywhere, right? And Mondale, how you doing? He says, preach, Don. And H. McDaniels, how you doing? He says, I agree with Donovan about the one black Supreme Court judge. Just maybe that one black judge may change some minds of the others. Clarence Thomas didn't do it because he was too busy bootlicking, right? And still is, right? And Jafia, you say, shut up, Donovan. And Marjorie says, but wait, y'all, it isn't that suspect when black women are married to rich, powerful zaddies. Who's behind the scenes of the zaddies? I mean, I agree with you. I think it does need to be investigated. Absolutely. And Yahweh, how you doing? He says, Shalom, Sister Kay and Brother Donovan, and same to you. And Anastasia says, okay, you let one in, so what? And that speaks to this racist and white male patriarchy, because in 2022, we're still talking about black first. Good point. And Yahweh says, backbone of evil. Well, damn. And Marjorie says, y'all on fire today. Talk black to me. Yes, indeed. And Yahweh says, the male bottom feeders voted demon rule. And Sean says, if us as black men hold our vote, black women can't get no Democrats elected by themselves. There you go. Because as I said, black men, you weren't that far behind black women as far as voting for the Democrats. I think it was like 2 to 3, maybe 4% behind.
Yeah, but you got to remember though, Trump garnered and gained more than he did the last election. Black men voted for Trump by 13%.
Right. And black women, some weren't that far behind black men voting for Trump, just to keep it honest, right?
In my opinion, though, if you look at the numbers and you look at the polls, where the black man goes, the black woman usually follows. You know what I mean? In voting and stuff like that. I know the numbers are kind of whatever poll you look at, but in my opinion, if a black man votes more like this, the women usually somewhere along the line follow.
Absolutely. All right. And so let's see here. And Jafai says, maybe Jim Clyburn picked someone who would do what he does not. I doubt it.
No. That would be like saying, I'm a Klansman. And okay, good example. How many of you guys know Joe Biden holds the title of Grand Wizard of a Klan group? How many of you guys know that? He hasn't denounced that yet till this very day. So you're telling me that Jim Clyburn is going to pick somebody that's doing something opposite that what he's used to doing? I kind of doubt it.
Yahweh says the ones these community straggles love so much. And Mondale says, thank you, Demetri. Say that again. Black women have power. They don't know how to use it. And sometimes they misuse it. Absolutely. Facts Not Feeling says it's propaganda to say black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. It used to gaslight black women and don't do anything for black people. Yes, indeed. It's that, ooh, look at us. They just recognize us as the backbone. We sure is, honey.
Clutch my pearls. How dare you say that? You can't tell a black woman nothing. You ain't my father. We can do what we want. A black woman can do anything a man can do. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
I can't stand you. And Arson, you say all these cases being brought up years later. What was the case where a white woman's lie led to the death of this black kid, however old? Isn't she still alive? The Central Park 5 situation? Yeah. Those players, they haven't been punished by prison or anything like that. You talk about Carolyn Bryant and that of Emmett Till, and Arson is from Canada. Just so you guys know. And Robin says exactly. And Cecil says there are well over 300 United States uprisings from our so-called black people. Yet we only hear about a select 5 or 6 chosen few. The rest are put down, hidden in history. Absolutely. And I love that you brought that up because they do try to tell us that, make it seem like, well, black people was just all scared. Nah, they was
So
uprising
docile. The black folks are
everywhere.
the most docile people.
Nah, black people were uprising everywhere. They just don't tell you about it because they don't want you to get froggy, right? Which is why they tanked, Nate Parker's movie, The Birth of a Nation, about Nat Turner. They didn't want black people to get any ideas because he told the story as I know it. He did a great job, and I think all black people should go see that movie. But they allowed Hollywood use black women to help take the movie down.
He assaulted a black woman back when he was 17
No, it
years
was a
old.
white woman, and it was a white woman. He was found not guilty of that, but they brought it up 17, 20 years later. So, and let's see here. Thunder says the white women voting for them and the Democratic Party. Yes, indeed. And Fast Not Feeling says, hi, Maurice, how you doing? He says, we contribute to our own demise. You better believe it. And Marjorie says, Butter Biscuit, what is that? LOM, Uncle Ruckus, toe tapping, step and fetch it. Okay. And Arson says, sad. What Donovan says is basically they won't make a change that could actually bring about real change. Nope, not going to do it. As long as it makes Massa happy, that's all they're concerned with. And Gilberto, thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate you.
And let me say this. Even though we're kind of jumping on the black women, hey, black men are a big problem and part of the problem in our community. Okay, that we're not leading like we used to. We're not there for our children. So I don't want you guys to think that we're just slapping down black women. But unfortunately, in the modern age, they are using women because women are leading households now, and things have changed from the traditional value to mislead and continue the misleading of the black community.
Yes, indeed. And Gilberto, thank you so much. He says, thank you, Donovan, Demetri K. and Donovan, for keeping us informed and entertained at the same time. It is truly needed during this time, and it is our pleasure. And once again, thank you.
Yes, Demetri, thank you for your comedy situation while I address the seriousness of the situation.
There you go. And H. McDaniel says, to my comment earlier, says maybe I was just wishful thinking. And Marjorie says 100. Thunder says, I will be more than happy to support Olu Stevens.
Now Olu Stevens, wasn't she just appointed last year? To the federal bench. She was just appointed like last year. I think that they might hold that against her if she makes it to the process because of her lack of experience, I guess they would say.
Well, they said that Michelle Childs doesn't have a lot of experience either. She's one of the few judges that did not go to, or would be if she's appointed to the Supreme Court, not go to an Ivy League college. I don't know how big of a deal that is, but Robert says Biden is trying to finish us off. We don't have any more time to waste. Absolutely. And Broham, how you doing? He says divide and conquer, all part of the satanic elite agenda. Self-hatred is real. Yep. And Robert says whoever is Biden pick should not change our agenda from midterm to the presidential election. There you go. It should not be.
Exactly. Stand on it like 10 toes. We can't. We got to show these people there's a price to pay for not dealing with our issues. So we got to stay focused. And we know our parents' generation, and I'm not saying all of them, but we know that that's their base that they've got to get to.
Yes, indeed. And Anastasia says it takes two to tango. Black men have a part in this dysfunction. That is the Black experience in this country. Yes, indeed. And Brandon says, I was told we're going back to the 50s for real. Make America great white again. Yeah, the only thing I would say in the 50s is that Black people have more unity because all we had was us. So that might not be a bad idea.
We had more businesses. We had more Black professionals. We had more industry. So I don't know. That might look pretty good.
Robert says, I knew that. And Sean says, wow, I didn't know that. And Thunder says, that's correct. The Black male voter isn't very far behind the Black female voter. If the men just sit this one out, we can change things. The minister said, if you want to build a people first, you must make a man. I think he meant to say, but yeah, absolutely. So if Black men alone just says, I'm good, it will change. It really will. Don't believe the hype and that all they need is Black women to go to the polls. Nah, they need the brothers too. So we need to spread that word. Absolutely. And Kiki, y'all all laughing, Marjorie. And Jafia says, laugh out loud. Well, it was a good thought, D and Don. And Marie says, I didn't know that about Biden, but I have always called him a grand wizard. It's just something you can see. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you
he
got to
hung out with
remember.
him.
Yeah, you got to remember Biden was a big supporter of Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond was a big racist thing. Now, the thing in the 70s was you didn't really want to be associated with the Ku Klux Klan because that wasn't a good thing for your election things, but they had off groups, and he was officially given a Grand Wizard title in a non-Ku Klux Klan group that was really the Ku Klux Klan. Because remember, they were suing the Klan out of existence. So they came off with these offshoots, and he still holds that exact title to this very day.
And that's news to me as well, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and put allegedly on there. Not saying Donovan's lying, but I just want to say, because news to me, we learn something new every day, right? And G-Man, how you doing? He says our community should disavow from the Dems and use our vote as leverage to get what we want. Hopefully the older generation gets the point. Biden lied. The younger generation is tired of the lies. Yeah, a lot of the older generation, some of them are starting to wake up, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for them to go to glory. Not saying we want them to go anytime soon, but they're going to hold on to that, to the very end, unfortunately. And Cecil says the Supreme Court was designed and made to destroy anything that is Black. That is the Supreme Court's job to keep us under Jim Crow. Yes, indeed, because we've been under that, right? Since it's been here. And Brother Samuel, how you doing? He said, I feel we must understand that a system that at its root is set up by Satan will ever work to the benefit of Black people or the people of God. One day we will realize that, separate and set up a system of our own, #separation or death. Yes, indeed. Jafai says Blacks in America uprise over 30 years before they did in Haiti. Yeah, it was all the time. But again, they won't tell us that. They'll tell us about a few of them, and they'll, make it cute, if you will, but they don't tell the real story. So good point. And Robin says one of Biden's mentor was Strom Thurmond. Yes, indeed. And he said that. And Sean says true. And Anastasia says, look, I did my time like Eve and Serena did, but we get hated on. Let us go to Mars. A Black man will be married to a green woman telling everyone how much better she is than us. Well, damn. You also say Donovan sound like Eddie Murphy. Please stop. And Jafai says, thank you, Donovan, for mentioning that Black men are as much at fault as Black women. Yes, Donovan's coming around. And Anastasia says Gabrielle Union helped them destroy that movie. Yeah, she did. She was very complicit in doing that, but we can still see it. It's still available for us to watch. I mean, Nat Turner was a hell of a guy. He was on to something. Anyway, and Jafia says, and she is a Black woman. And Thunder says, Olu Stevens is a man, and he was the one that was all over Breonna Taylor's boyfriend's case. He was the one that defended himself and tried to defend Breonna from what he thought was a break-in. Got it? Yeah, it was news to me. I heard the name before, but I didn't know who the name was attached to. So thank you for that. Facts Not Feeling says, integration is what destroyed Black family. Yes, indeed. And Gilbert says, Donovan, I was unaware as well. Wow. And Brother Samuel says, you both hit the nail on the head when you say Black people are satisfied with symbolism instead of substance. Yeah, we've just been taught to accept that. And Sunlight says, lack of resources was a tool that broke up our families. Once they took away the ability to provide, then came the drugs, incarceration, and welfare to ease the pain. Yep. And Anastasia says, let's look at the Trump's picks. One never tried a case. One never wrote a brief, and et cetera. They only want to bring up qualification when it's a Black person. Yes, indeed. And the Republicans, of course, are trying to say it's illegal that Biden is wanting to pick a Black woman, but they failed to mention that Reagan said he wanted a Black woman, not a Black woman, but a woman. And Trump also said that his pick would be a woman, which was Amy Cohen Barrett, or whatever her name is. And so, you're right. When it comes to a Black woman, they want to try to get in their feelings. And Donovan, you explained your comment up there, so I won't read it. And old school, how you doing? You say Donovan, Judge O'Brien has been saying it years ago and just a few months ago about the characteristics of Sleepy Jim Crow Joe. Yes, Judge O'Brien does not play any games at all. And Easy says Biden is from Central Pennsylvania, Scranton to be exact. Central Pennsylvania is a haven for hate. You would think it's you're in the deep South. Wow. Hey, Channy, how you doing? He says, what's good, Black people? Everything. And Pamela, he says, Donovan, you should watch the game. The Bengals won the first game. Okay. And Moni says, I would love to see this new Supreme Court justice person opened doors. The Supreme Court is dealing with racism and affirmative action issues. Many of your beloved Republicans looking to tie it up. Yes, indeed. They got it. Well, the Democrats are outnumbered 6-3 at the Supreme Court there. And so, there are some what's the guy? I always slips my mind. Kavanaugh, he's been surprising because a lot of people were thinking that he would be more on the conservative side. He has ruled with the liberals. And
John Roberts, the chief jurist.
He's middle of the road a lot too, and so I don't know. And Thunder says, I said it once, and I say it again. Hold the vote. Yes, hold the vote until we get something for it. And Sasha says, and Strom Thurmond had a black daughter, so proximity means nothing. Biden lied on Madiba. Yes, indeed. They don't talk about that black daughter a lot, don't they? But so one thing about the good old boys, they don't like black people, but they love black women, don't they?
And what do I say on the show and on my show a lot? In my experience in the military, most of your most rabid racists are married to other groups.
Yes, indeed. And Donovan says Senator Byrd went from being an active member of the KKK to being a stalwart supporter of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. And Warner says they're looking to tie it up so that hoping to block her from getting in. I look at it as more than just a standard female Clarence Thomas in terms of opening doors for future females to come.
Well, here's the thing, Moni. There will be a black female Supreme Court person. It's going to happen.
Yeah, because the Democrats, they don't need the Republicans buy-in. They can just ram her through like the Republicans did with Amy Barrett.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. They don't even have to ram it through. He has to put one on there. He's already made the public commitment. If he doesn't, he's going to lose significant baby boomers when he was on the campaign trail that he said and he promised, this is what I'm going to do. And that's why
he promised some other stuff too.
He did too. He did. But see, but this is an easy win for him because guess what? Like we're talking about on the show, look at the black women he's vetting. Most of them are married to people that look like him. They're safe. I can go with that.
Okay. And Sunlight says, no. And I'll give that and say, these folks going to be in their feelings anytime it's a black man or a black woman. Yep, they always going to have a problem with it. And Sunlight says, Donovan Saadiq, I have to give props when they're due. Laugh out loud. Wow. And Thunder says, Trump just announced that if he is reelected, he will pardon the January 6th.
Of course. And by the way, since we're talking about Trump, he will run for president again. He has no choice now, or he's going to be going to jail. He has to run.
So they say. And Facts Not Feelings says, I'm going to say something a little controversial. Is it possible that blacks in USA have been in a cold civil war with Euros and USA since the end of slavery, but refuse to acknowledge this fact? Yeah, I think that's plausible.
Facts Not Feelings? Where you going to get a better house than you get here? Where you going to get some better food than you get here? What? This good white man? Leave and go where? What?
And Moni says, we know a lot about Jim Crow Joe, but let's stick to the on point that your beloved number 45 had an opportunity to put a black woman on. You mean 44? Or are you talking about 45 on? And he showed you what he thought about it. He put a white woman on. Well, what about Barack Obama?
Yeah, Trump never promised to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. Never promised.
He never did. But what about the first black president? He was able to put people on the Supreme Court.
Latina.
Yeah, and he didn't put a black woman on there. He should have and could have, but I mean, so y'all want to be mad at Trump, but giving Barack Obama, President Obama, I should say, a pass. Let's see here. And Moni also say, and while I'm not for 46, I will give credit where credit is due. This is bigger than the symbolism. This is future doors for young black females to have an opportunity by catalysts. Call it out.
Okay, wait. I want to say this, and this is what we got to stop doing, men and women. We are in this together. You guys cannot be, the female going to, we got to stop that. We got to stop that. We are both equally black and we both equally have some of the same exact problems. We have to stay on code and stay together. This female's going to do this. The male, no, we're in it together. And it's been like that since slavery. We have to stay together. If we do not divide and conquer, we are a done people. So all this sisters, this it's going to open doors for black women. Stop. Let's stop all
that. Brandy says, baby damn boomers. Yes, indeed. Jafari says, well, actually, Justice Sotomayor is not white, Moni. Yes, she's, I think she's Puerto Rican, isn't she, or something like that? And Facts Not Feeling says, spot on, Donovan Saadiq. And Thunder says, by the way, before I forget, I love the hair. Thank you so much. And Moni says, so many people are going to be bringing out everything they can on Joe Biden, but they didn't keep the same energy when it was number 5. I never heard none of you talk about when he had his picks for 4 judges. Yeah, so, okay, we did.
Moni. Yeah, Moni, here's the thing. When a person comes out and they say, I'm a racist, I stand for this, and they stand on it with 10 toes, why would we have to argue what he's saying? Why would we have to argue that? Yeah, he's showing you. He's also showing it to you.
And I mean, this is the thing. Trump, and I say this a lot, he is a horrible person, okay, for a lot of things. But Trump did what they sent him to do. And that was rally on the side of white people. He did what Obama should have did. And that's put a woman or somebody that looked like him on the Supreme Court. So I don't get why we're mad at that. Trump did what his people wanted him to do. That's the way it works.
And look at how his people react to him. They're willing to go to jail. They're willing to falsify official documents. How many black folks are willing to do that for their candidates?
Yes, indeed. In fact, Not Feeling says, haha. And Marjorie says 100. And Robin says, Trump never made any promises to the African Americans as he calls us. Exactly. He did say, well, what do you have to lose? And Mondale says, no pass for Obama. Yep. And he says, yes, together forever. Let me block this spammer here. And Gilberto says that Donovan, you are correct because all of the cultures stay on code. Yes, indeed. And Mona says, Dimitri Donovan, do you not appreciate being able to see a black woman finally get a chance to be in office, whether you like her or not, because it goes further than what you think? I will say this, and I said this yesterday on our podcast. As a black woman, I would love to see a black woman on there, but I don't want just any black woman on there. I want a black woman on there that's actually going to help black people. That should be the main focus. If she's black, great. But it's more important that if she actually helps black people in America, okay, that to me, that's most important. So I will say that.
Yeah, and Moni, see, you just gave us the definition of symbolism. Just seeing somebody there, that's the definition of symbolism. There's no point in putting a black person up on the Supreme Court or in any offices of power if they're going to do no different than what a white person's going to do or Asian's going to do or, anybody else. If I'm going to put somebody up there that looks like me, I expect them to deliver tangibles, not just be there.
Exactly. And Jafia says, yes, she is Puerto Rican. And Moni says, I'm looking past that because when your beloved 45 was not, it was in not once did he consider bringing a black woman or any other woman of color. Let's be clear. I'm going past that for future generations to come. Okay. And Cecil says, there's nothing left to vote for. And Robin says, black folks really need to get out of their darn feelings. Black folks didn't vote for Trump. Black folks voted for Biden. Yep, absolutely. And Thunder says, that's right, Donovan. We are in this together. In the words of G Money, CMB, we all we got. Am I my brother?
We all we got.
Yes, I am. Yes, indeed. Shout out to New Jack City. And Marty says, so y'all talking to each other. Mondale says, put Oprah up there. You wowed it. And Marjorie says, yes, and Donovan, yes, unity, black first, stay on code, separate our personal black men, black women, love, relations out of politics, and focus on hashtag cut the check initiatives for the healing process of our communities.
Yeah, yes, Marjorie, I'm looking at the future, the grandbabies. What's going to be left if we don't fight now, which is what our parents should have continued to fight the civil rights movement. We haven't moved the ball in 60 years because they haven't given us the ball. Now, these people are 70, 80 years old, and they're like, okay, well, I guess y'all can handle it now. But look at the mess you've left us.
Right.
So I'm fighting for the future. I'm not fighting for my generation. I'm fighting for those grandbabies that are out there right now. Think about it. You've got people, Demetra's daughter and my son, if they don't make the right decisions, they will never have home ownership. Never.
Absolutely.
That's what we're fighting for.
Morning says, it amazes me how you have so many people that when Trump was putting his candidates for Supreme Court, he stated that he instructed many to stop Obama from having his pick. Nobody had a problem with that. I mean, we did say something about it, but
Mitch McConnell did what he did. Remember, Imoni, you got to understand, Democratic Party, Republican Party, white supremacy, both sides of it. Mitch McConnell did what he did, and the Democrats let him do it. They let him do it. And then when it was Trump's turn, did the Democrats fight? No, they let him have it. Just like this infrastructure bill. Two people, they won't say a word against those two fake ass Democrats that are actually Republicans. Won't say a word to them. These people are holding up a whole nation's agenda. Two people.
And Thunder says, Sotomayor is Boricua Weepa. Okay. And Sunlight says, G Money got killed by his brother, quote unquote, right after that. Laugh out loud. I'm just saying. Okay. Mondale says she's going to be like a red light. People still going to run through it. No. And Jafar says, Donovan, the repercussions will be totally different if Black people showed their appreciation in the same manner as white folks. Mondale says, symbolism allowed. Money says, like nobody had a problem. That has never been no president in history to think about nominating a Black woman. Just the idea of that is for future generations, not symbolism, whether you like it or not. Okay. And wins, Faircloth, how you doing? You say a Black judge would only be symbolism. Yes, indeed. And Anastasia said that's white, Hispanic, and Latinx is not a race. They and Asians fought in court to be considered white. Very true. And Marjorie says, yes. And Anais, how you doing? Says, shalom, family. In fact, now Phil says, we said here months ago, Trump's going to run and he will win. Trump will also bring USA down. Yeah, I mean, he is going to run and I believe he is going to win. And you also say, Blacks need to look to protect ourselves as a collective. Other groups will separate and grab land and protect their kind. Be prepared. Yes, indeed. And H. McDonald said, the Black woman on the Supreme Court is meaningless unless she is doing something substantial for Black people. Skin color means nothing to me. Absolutely.
But what can one person on a 9-panel do? It takes a majority to do anything. So what can one person do? Okay, let's give Uncle Thomas a pass right now. You got 2 Black people. What can 2 Black people do against the other 7?
The only thing they can do, which still doesn't hold a lot of weight, is write dissenting opinions, right? A lot of them do, even though they don't win whatever it is or get whatever they're trying to do passed or whatever. They do write dissenting opinions saying why they disagreed with what happened. And some people could look at it. It won't set precedents, if you will, but it is written and it can be looked at as maybe some sort of a blueprint, if you will, if that makes any sense. And Marty says, I love you, Donovan. Always, you're my sexy brown sugar for the day. I'm sorry Dallas isn't playing, but I know it will be some other team. I hope you pick a good winner. And Gavetta says, the problem is
with Rams. Go Rams.
Gavetta says, the problem is with our Black first people is that we cannot work together on nothing. Everyone is fighting to be number one, and what they are not seeing is that the Black first people are losing at every turn. Yes, indeed. And Kimmy says, do you guys think that the Dems will try to cheat at this next presidential election? I think they all cheat.
No. I don't think they're going to cheat because they don't need to. They have no intentions of winning. This is going to be their excuse for why they can't give us anything. This is their excuse. Oh, well, we lost the House. We lost the Senate. That's why we can't. We were going to do that. You guys were on the list. Do you guys realize Joe Biden did everything that people wanted within 45 days of being inaugurated? It's like going to a restaurant. Everybody's seated. Everybody has eaten. They've taken their order. They're all eating. And you and your family go in there. And now there's nobody there. Everybody's been taken care of except your family. That's what's going on. The Dems have no intentions of winning this election. They're going to lose the Senate. There's no doubt about that. So they lose the Senate. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Negroes. We were going to give y'all something, but see, we lost the Senate. Sorry.
Absolutely. And so I think they all cheat. I think the Republicans cheat. I think the Democrats cheat. I don't think there's any election that's cheat free, if that makes any sense. And Thunder says, family, we must work together. There is no other way. Black first today, Black first tomorrow, Black first forever. I love that. And Moni says, you're right, Demetria. That Obama put a woman that was off color, but at the end of the day, Now you have Biden that's putting a black woman on. Now, let's talk about on that, not just the symbolism. Okay, well, I will also say this, Jim Clyburn, however you want to say it, made him do it. He damn near twisted his arm and told him, you need to do this. And he got Biden reluctantly to agree to that. So it wasn't like Biden came up with that on his own. Like, well, you know what? I'm going to give the Negroes a black woman Supreme Court justice. Clyburn forced his hand in that. So,
you know what I mean? And that's because one favor does the other. Hey, look, I got you elected in South Carolina, so I need you to put this person on because our numbers are tanking, and this is what's going to help you. So you owe me. And that's how they do it up there.
Sean says, we in trouble. Yes, indeed. And Morning says, meaning she may be a typical type similar to Clarence Thomas and just in a woman's form. I'm looking for the future of young black women replacing her further down in the future. I see the bigger picture. Love it. Okay. And Kimmy, you say, sorry, that was meant for you, Donovan. So there's a comment somewhere. Did you see it? Okay. And then Morning says, we can never give President Obama a pass. Let's be clear. But for those of you that love number 45, he never put no black woman, no black man on, and he could have, but he didn't. How about that one?
Okay, well, what about this, Moni? None of your presidents, we still got Black Panthers still in jail to this very day. Is Biden releasing them? Biden could give us student debt forgiveness. He isn't doing that. I mean, we could go on and on and on about Biden and Obama that didn't do nothing for black people. This is the playbook, and this is why they want to lose the House. The George Floyd bill. You get us elected, we're going to get you, George Floyd. All you young people, get out of the streets. Why have they not revisited that bill? And what did all the black leaders that were working on that bill say? We tried. So, I mean, come on. You got to call it for what it is. This man has no intentions of doing anything for black people because his actions have shown that. Nobody else, everybody else is cut in front of us. What I think should happen, and maybe you guys might disagree with me or not, let the people that got something for Biden go vote for him. We need to sit it out. We need to sit it out or vote for something else. Let those other people go vote. Since they got something from him, they owe him a vote. We didn't get nothing. So why should we even care at this point? We're not getting nothing. We're not going to get nothing but symbolism.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me see here. Where did I leave off? And S.A. Smith, how are you? You says exactly. Biden helped the other. Did you read that already?
Oh, no, you got that right.
Okay. He says exactly. Biden helped other people quickly, and yet if they lose midterms, they will probably blame the black people. Oh, the hell!
No. I disagree. They're not going to blame the black people. They're going to blame the black man.
And Gilberto says, look at our communities. The first thing they want to put in is a liquor store, wig store, and pay loans. We don't see this in the other communities. Absolutely. Well, we continue to vote for people who allow them to do that, right? And Moni says, so let's embrace our newness of the year of the tiger starts Tuesday, which is a water tiger that's going to bring enormous amount of shakeup and changes. And I think changes is coming more in the White House. Okay. And Kimmy said, Donovan, that makes sense. And Jafai says, Biden administration is Obama 3.0. Yes, indeed. In fact, now says Jim Crow, Joe has the power to expand the court to 15 justices and nominate 6 people, but he has no intention to change anything substantially.
Right. Okay. Facts, I'm feeling, and you're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up. Why ain't he doing it? What's stopping him from doing it? They've got all branches of the House.
And Anastasia, you say, why do we have a Becky in here? Who's a Becky? And Maurice says, why are we not pushing for Biden's impeachment? We need to make that message loud and say it proudly. And Marjorie says, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Yes, indeed. And Anastasia says, impeach for what? And Sean says he didn't even bring up the justice reform bill either.
Wait, Sean, remember when Biden was campaigning? Didn't he say, hey, I'm going to get a federal police group to overlook at the policing in America? What happened to that?
Right. And Brother says, I have absolutely no faith in this satanic fraud of a democracy. Me either. And Robin says, again, I don't know what's so hard to understand about black folks did not vote for Trump. Black folks did not vote Republican. Black folks voted Democratic and has has been shit on. Yes, indeed. H. McDaniel says she can't get anything done by herself unless she speak up and change minds. Again, it's wishful thinking. At least it would be more than what 1968 Clarence Thomas, and I think your comment cut off.
Right, right.
Fast and Phillips says, I agree. Donovan, and Marie says he needs to go, period. Yes, indeed. And Marjorie says the whole damn system is guilty as hell. Hashtag cut the check. Hashtag black first. Who are we dealing with? Yes, indeed. And yes, please, if y'all could please like and share and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll dance at your wedding. Jafia says, I agree 100%. Donovan,
I don't want you to dance. I want you to twerk.
No. Okay. My knees said hell no. And Jafia says, I agree 100%. Donovan, casket ready Joe is not going to do anything for black people. In fact, Not Feeling says, let the Afghanis, gays, border jumpers vote for Jim Crow Joe.
The people that benefited from him, they need to vote for him. And you put those people together collectively, it is not enough to beat the Republicans. It's not by the numbers.
Yes, indeed. And Brandon says, I heard they're bringing illegal immigrants in for elections.
Well, what they're doing in a lot of major cities, and it's going to keep sweeping because they see that black people are waking up, they're letting illegal people vote in elections at the local level. Can you believe that? And Dimitri, could you expand on voter ID in elections? Could you kind of give us the disparity of that?
Well, there's a lot of things going on with the voter ID. They want people, they being the Republicans are saying people should have, IDs. And of course, the Democrats are saying, well, not a lot of people can afford IDs and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But it's like, well, if they can't afford IDs, probably they're getting some sort of government assistance and they need IDs to get that kind of stuff. So it's like, make it make sense, right? Everybody should have an ID, but then a lot of it is voter suppression where, like if somebody wants to vote absentee ballot, they got to have a witness and, all these other things going on. You can't give people food and water in the lines. It's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I think
and that's a good point. Yeah, you got absentee ballot, things like that. Okay, fine. Okay, if you're in the military, for 20-something years, I voted absentee ballot, but I was in the military, so it was a valid thing. We know voter suppression is going on. The Democrats are lying to you, saying that this is going to affect. Yeah, they're doing it against black people, but they've been doing that for years. And we've always were able to vote. So I don't see what the big deal is.
Morning says, Dimitri, I fully agree with you, but I see it going to be more to come this Tiger year. You watch what I'm telling you is going to be a mini shakeup from this virus to other things. And Anastasia says, and Obama stopped the NBA from protesting too. Yes, he did. He shut that down, didn't he? And H. McDaniel says then again, Jim Crow Joe is going to make sure he don't put a black woman who's going to speak up for black people. He, just like other white supremacists, want to keep black at the bottom so they can remain at the top. You better believe it. And Cecil says they did not give in to the feminist movement developed by the CIA, weapons of mass destruction toward the so-called black people. And Mona says, Donovan, I agree with you 100%. I'm not saying that it is about symbolism, but but to think about me, you and Dimitri are basically close in age group. This is a first for our generation to see this ever.
Well, no, not really. I've seen black female judges before. I went to child support court and and that was not pretty.
And I also disagree. I'm not close in age. I'm 25, baby. 25. I'm just kidding. And Jafia says in New York City, illegals are allowed to vote. Yes, indeed. New York City did make that law. And Moni says, but mark my words, to shake up that's coming is something that many of the donkey and especially the beloved elephant party is never going to be able to understand. God has the final say. Glad about it. And Cecil says, Dimitri K is fantastic feminine black woman. She is not a feminist, not at all.
Ha!
I don't come for the feminism movement at all.
And she doesn't put up with men's bullshit either.
And essay, you say, I would not be surprised if many of these groups or those groups who receive the benefits vote Republican. They want what they want, regardless of who it comes from.
Okay, Mr. Smith, here's the deal. The Latins come into this country under democratic policies. They get here because they become business owners and whatever things like that. They vote, half of them vote Republican. The numbers already show that. Asians, same thing. They have wealth and stuff. They vote Republican because Republican policies benefit them in their businesses. So they vote Republican. You better believe that. And this is why the Democratic Party is giving us symbolism now, because they were like, oh, well, remember we were talking crazy to y'all and stuff when we first got in office and shit like that. Now it's like, oh, the numbers ain't adding up. These niggas didn't even want to vote in Virginia. They sat it out in Virginia. We couldn't even get that. So now they're coming back with, oh, hey, we're going to put a little black woman up here, y'all. Oh, shit, that ain't even working. We got to shut these black platforms down. Didn't I tell y'all 2 years ago to get rid of Demetra K? Didn't I tell y'all?
Marjorie says, bull crap, $20 for an ID versus a marijuana stick. They better wake up. Yes, indeed. Aaron, how are you? He says, and what could Herschel Walker possibly do with Georgia? Yeah, so Herschel Walker is what he's talking about, running for senator or something like that. Is like,
it's Senate against our girl Tamara Sheely Johnson.
Okay, Herschel. Yeah, I think he took too many hits to the head, maybe, when he was on the field.
Hey, I played football, so that qualifies me to be everything. It's like the Al Bundy syndrome.
Yeah.
Hey, I played college football. Hey, there's something wrong with the car. No worries. I played football.
That's all you need, brother. And Brandy says, Google and Facebook lied to you, quote unquote, Kanye West. And Anais says, are we talking about Mr. Cosby tonight? What else is he doing? Yeah, so we talked about him at the top of the hour, how they got this documentary on Showtime by Kamau Bell. And he is going, it's named, we need to talk about Bill Cosby. It's a hit piece, to say the least. And as I said, the usual suspects are talking about him, Roland Martin, Jamel Hill, Mark Lamont Hill, and people like that. Not a surprise, right? And Arson says, laugh out loud, Donovan. I'm sorry, Negroes. We lost the House, but seriously, let's make a quick assessment. Should Trump win next elections? What's the worst that'll happen to us? How do we prepare for it?
There is that. Nothing could happen to us. We're already there. Nothing could. If anything, it's going to wake more black people up. They're going to be so frustrated. It's going to wake more black people up if Trump gets back in office.
And that's what we needed. We knew that once the Democrats took office again, that it will rock black people back to sleep, because we were told that Donald Trump was the boogeyman and a whole bunch of horrible things, but yet it worked. That the Democrats are back in office and black people breathe a sigh of relief, like, "Whoo, that was close."
But I just wanted him out. Okay, now look what you got.
Yeah, and now look at this. And Facts Not Feeling says Dems could have solved the long lines issue, but they have no intention to do so. They want to keep things just the way it is, no real change. Absolutely. And Marjorie says, I have
a real quick Facts Not Feeling. See, and he just proved my point. They control all facets of government. If they want to deal with the line, what did the Dems say 10 years ago? Oh, money in politics is such a problem. Well, why aren't they fixing it? You've got everything you need to do it. All the problems that they said that, the Republicans are messing this up and this is messed up, they can do that. They want to expand the Supreme Court, they can do that. They have the votes to do all that. But white supremacy on a bird are two different wings, but it's still white supremacy. And that's what we got to wake up and understand. It's a game.
And not only that, you look at the records of a lot of these. Sorry, you guys, I'm rubbing my eyes. I've been up early. I've been I hit the ground running, and still hitting the ground running. So I apologize for that. A lot of these Democrats are corporatists, and they get their money from lobbyists, so they're not going to mess up their bag. I mean, really, at the helm of this, as you guys know, if you study the Communist Manifesto, it talks about, capitalism being at the top or the root of all this other stuff we're talking about is really just a sub issue. It's a distraction. And so when you think about the Democrats and Republicans, as Donovan said, they are two wings of the same bird. At the end of the day, they're all getting rich by keeping us all distracted and fighting over the Republicans, the Democrats, this, that, the other. It's all a smokescreen. So let's see here. And Marjorie says, I have two cousins, black women judges in my family as we speak. For real. Okay. And SA says, Miss, and it's a smiley face. He says, I agree. They mostly with conservative views. And Marjorie says 100. And Tanaya, what's going on with you? He says, good evening, folks. Hey, Demetra and Donovan, what's up with YouTube notification? Yeah, somebody else said they weren't getting notification either. They said there's a shadow ban going around. If you guys know, too, especially on the African Diaspora News Channel, which is a large channel the views are down significantly because we feel like something may be going on.
No, Phil went to Turkey and wasn't on the job like he was supposed to. No,
The numbers ain't adding up. So, something's definitely going on. So I apologize for that. And Gavetta says, and Donovan, my goodness, you are so right. I have watched in my neighborhood where these other groups are coming in, getting loans and getting homes built. They are taking over these communities. Absolutely.
Here in California, Demetra, did not the Asians make their own community?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it everywhere. Even here in Houston, I see it, And Facts Not Feeling says, yep. And Marjorie says, go Donovan, you got my vote. All right now. And NIE says they can't get rid of Black media. We are here to stay. Yes, indeed. And Sandra J says, love from Houston. Well, thank you so much.
New Black media. There's a difference because we have Black media, but they've been bought off.
Yep. Block this person here, this spam. All right. And Gavetta says that Donovan, even my 91-year-old grandmother is changing over. Wow. Now that's something. And that's what the Democrats are afraid of. And they should be afraid of that. When the baby boomers start to switch, she's the silent generation.
Yeah, she's the silent generation. Ahead of that.
Mm-hmm. It's a wrap.
And you got to think about this too. There are more people in their 70s that are dying than there are 18-year-olds that are becoming eligible to vote. So their voting base is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yes, indeed. And Marjorie says the Black media is a force to be reckoned with. Let's keep it up. Make them shake in their boots. Yes, indeed. And Anna says, I'm loving the plaid shirt, Queen. I thank you so much. And Marjorie says, troll in the house. Yeah, I got rid of that troll. And Moni says, Donovan, my question to you is, since number 45 is stating that he is definitely coming back and he's going to pardon the insurrectioners, what's your take on it? Anybody but him?
I'm going to say this, and I know it might be shocking to some people, and it might not be shocking to some people. If Trump comes back into office, I'm voting for Trump. I'm going to vote for him. Sorry.
And I said the same thing. I mean, not because I love the dude, but I just think we would be better off as Black people under Trump. I mean, Joe Biden has been in office over a year, a little over a year now, and look at the state of Black people.
And the reason why I'm voting for Trump is it's a protest vote. If we keep giving our votes to the Democrats and there's no repercussions, no matter what they do, they're going to continue to do what they're doing. Yeah. So let them lose a few elections and let's bring the boogeyman back so that people out there that look like us could wake up and see the emergency that we are under. You know what? I rather do it.
And like he said, my African Americans, what do you have to lose? And so, Anastasia, just to let y'all know, BLM, I think Mississippi is having a classic movie festival. We're playing Claudine, The Wiz, Cornbread, Earl and Me, and Coffee, and Mahogany, etc. Starts on February 1st.
Oh, that is awesome. Cool. What child star starred in Cornbread and Earl and Me? It was his very first movie.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes,
indeed.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool, though. And Sean, you say me too, so you're voting for Trump as well. And Moyne says, I agree with you, Donovan. I'm very pissed that he hasn't done any student loan forgiveness when a Republican threw it out there, 50,000, though they didn't mean it. He said he was never going to give that.
And Moni, do you want to know why he didn't do that? Because the banks and the corporatists would not allow it. They wouldn't allow it.
Absolutely. And Sandra says I said the same thing. There you go. So there's a lot of people who feel that way. And Aaron, he said Willie D. So I think maybe you're tagging somebody. And Anastasia says, y'all see how Nancy Pelosi said about them owning stocks? They all on the same team. We just aren't on it. Yes, indeed. I mean, here's this lady during the beginning of the pandemic talking about her walk-in ice cream freezers. Like, what the hell? Really, lady? And Gilberto says, well, we all should vote for him. You also say maybe he will cut the check.
Well, think about this, Gilberto. When this pandemic first started, Trump was cutting the checks. How many checks has Joe Biden cut? We didn't get the 2,000 that he promised. We got 1,400 from Trump, or the 600. It was 600 from Trump, and then he added on 1,400. We just got screwed. Continue to get screwed.
Yep. And Jafia says the good thing about Trump is that at least he, where'd he go? At least he is for Americans first. Yeah, he's Americans and white folks. Okay. And Amanda says Donovan agreeing on sitting it out, but you watch what I tell you, he's going to come up with more than one thing to implement to make sure he has a chance back in office. Too many spies help. Okay. Anastasia says Trump was not American first. He was for money first. Look at his business deals. There you go. And that's what, and that's kind of what I meant by I say white people. He was for rich white people. And there's a lot of other rich people who said, hey, I did just fine under Trump.
And then I want you guys to think about this. The Bush tax cuts. Did not Obama make those permanent?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a black guy. Took all this money from the regular person and gave rich people permanent tax cuts.
Yeah, because he knew one day he would be rich. And he is. Marjorie says, then if the vote goes to Trump, we better pull out those black first agenda straightforward without hesitation. Grind his brain like a meat grinder making hamburger. Well, you know, at least Trump did look at the black agenda when Ice Cube went to the White House when Trump was in office. So, and then Facts Not Feelings says, I stick to my principle of never supporting a business that does not hire blacks or not blacks owned. Black people doing this can quickly save money and harm those groups who hate us. Yes, indeed. If we just practice group economics, we'd be all right. And Mona says, too many spies that come to the different black channels for from here to Brother Field, Vicky Dillard, and other black videos. That's not the bullets. That's why he's fighting with black voting rights. Javia says, we got two checks from Trump. And Arson says, Donovan, if you have bought off black media, you really don't have any black media. As far as I know, you and Demetra are the black media, and they're trying to keep you down. Hashtag
How many of you guys remember BNC? What happened to that? They were funded by millions of dollars. The Black News Channel. Remember you guys?
I was saying, BNC, got it.
Yeah. The Black News Channel. What happened to that? We don't see them too much anymore. What happened?
It's gone. And to give Edison Donovan, none am I one of the people that received the first check, but all other checks I never received.
I never got one because I make too much money.
Lucky you. Fast Now Phyllis says, I predict Trump's first win. I predicted Trump's first win, and I predict again that he will win again. I also predict he will finish USA. Ooh,
right, but think about that. Facts Not Feelings. If he finishes the USA, what does that got to do with black people? We haven't been, we've been so marginalized here and disrespected and stuff. How's that going to affect us? We have nothing to lose because we don't own nothing.
And Anastasia says, you don't have to vote for Trump as a protest. Well, I think he's meaning as, and I said this, it's really in protest to black people who continue to vote for oppression for the rest of us and think that we should all love it. And so I said that I would vote for Trump in protest to say, I'm not going along with you guys' agenda of nothingness for black people. So I think that's what he meant. Or you can just protest and not vote at all. So that good point. Javai says, when I say Americans first, I meant that he was more concerned about us who are here instead of the ones at the borders trying to enter the country illegally. Biden did the opposite. Absolutely. And Anastasia says, Lawrence Fishburne, everyone knows that. Okay. He says, y'all can vote the Green Party.
I did last election. That's exactly what I did.
And Marjorie say, yep. And Moni says, Donovan, there's no way that they can blame black men when a black man is not in office. Let's be clear. Donkey Party should blame themselves for not delivering. I say sit out, no vote 45 either.
So with that analogy, Moni, we're not supposed to blame a white man who's sitting in the party with all three branches of government at his disposal to do whatever he wants. So we shouldn't blame him either.
Right. Black people getting released out of federal prison right now from Trump justice bill. That is true. And Moni says, Donovan, I like your background. To Demetra, I like yours. Is that a library or is it just a backdrop? It looks very interesting. Is it cold? As it is cold as hell. It's very cold. It's very cold in Texas, Demetra. No, that is a background. I wish I had a library like that, but you know what? I ain't gonna wish. I'm speaking into existence that I will have a library like that and better, right? But it has been cold in Texas. It was 70 degrees here today, so I went outside and got some sunshine. But it is going to be cold. Facts Not Feeling says, yes, he did. Obama quietly enriched himself and further enriched the upper class. Yes, indeed. Oh God. That'd be crazy. And Aaron, you say, why not vote Green Party? Well, yeah, I mean, you can vote Green Party as well as a protest and maybe in hopes that they would win. Now, I personally did not vote Green Party last time. I will not tell y'all who I voted for, but I did not vote for Trump. I did not vote for Biden. I did not vote for Green Party. I didn't vote for the Green Party. I liked the vice president. I think her name is Angela. Her name escapes me.
We actually interviewed her. We
interviewed her. I didn't vote for the Green Party. And a white man at the top of the ticket as well. And so I voted for somebody else who I liked. I'll just put it that way. And Sandra said Michelle Obama.
El DeBarge. She wrote in El DeBarge, y'all.
You better believe it. And Sandra, you say Michelle Obama blamed Black people for getting Trump elected. Yeah, she was mad as hell. Said that we didn't turn out for Hillary like we did for her husband, and she was mad. It's like, oh, the well, hell, Michelle, and what you gonna
y'all
do?
Didn't even Obama said that himself. Y'all need to protect my legacy and voting Hillary.
Right.
The hell we will.
Right. And Anastasia says BNC is still on. Charles Blow is on there. Okay, so it's still on, but didn't they fire a bunch of people or something like that? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Charles Blow.
Yeah, a lot of their staff was released, and it was just done.
I got a bone to pick with Charles Blow. Okay, I don't like what he did to my homie Pepe Le Pew. It was Charles Blow that started that bullshit with Pepe Le Pew and got him kicked off of Space Jam 2 and had him out as a sexual predator.
Like, yes, exactly.
Pepe Le Pew. You raised a whole campaign and got Pepe Le Pew kicked off the.
I mean, you guys ever ask yourself why Looney Tunes isn't on the air anymore? Because it's too violent. Like Wile E. Coyote and all that stuff. Yeah, it's too violent. They don't want it on the air.
Okay. I don't ever remember wanting to jump off a cliff or drop an anvil on somebody's head, but okay. And Gilbert says that, Demetra. Kate, thanks for staying up with us because today you look like you're extremely tired. I am. You know what my problem is? I never take a day off. I keep saying, oh, take a day off. Today I'm going to read a book. I bought a James Baldwin book, The Fire, this time. I'm starting to read. It's very good. I haven't been able to read it because I've just been going and working. So one day this week, I'm going to take off and do nothing. I ain't even going to comb my hair. I say that now, though, but thank you anyway. And Javai says 70. Damn. It's only 23 here in New York. It was 5 below at 5 a.m. I don't want nothing to do with that.
It was like 78 here in California.
Yeah, it was nice today. Now, tomorrow, I think it's going to be cold. And one day it's going to be 47 degrees here. So we enjoyed it today. Morning says, I agree that he should appoint more justices on the Supreme Court. Then the standard 9 would be nice if he would add at least 2 Black women, maybe one of the Hawaiian descent or one of pure Native American. Okay. Sean says, we can switch cities in 20 degrees here in Pittsburgh. Okay. And Sandra says, last election, I sat on my vote. There you go. Jafai says, I don't give a doggone about Obama's legacy. Okay. And Marty says, I also agree with Demetra, with Anastasia. You do not have to vote for 45 as a protest vote. Totally agree. Stirring up a lot of controversy, and people are now talking.
Y'all young people, y'all vote. If you don't vote, that's a vote for Trump. That's a vote for Trump.
Right. And Marjorie says, Pepe, yeah, Charles Blow, he can miss me with all that messing with Pepe. And hey, Craig, how you doing? He says, I love it. And Kimmy says, I'm a Pepe fan too. Me too. I love Pepe Le Pew. And Facts I feel said, true Donovan Saadiq, just saying Blacks need to be prepared to get their piece of the pie when the USA crumbles because other groups will get their piece and they're not integrating with us. You better believe it. And Arson says, Trump being for money first could actually work in a favor of Blacks, or at least be an opportunity if you get a voice to speak on your behalf. Will Republicans not negotiate? Didn't they speak to Q? They did. And Brandon says, I read The Fire next time. I think it's The Fire. The Fire Next Time. It's really, really, really good book from what I'm reading so far. James Baldwin was a great Black writer. And Essay says, I plan to focus more on state and local elections in the future. Same here. And Moni, you also say, Demetra, where is gorgeous Pioneer? Can't wait to warm up this week. The Metro House, Texas, hold enough with the cold. Hope you guys don't have another blizzard. We need a stimulus check right now. Yes, I can't do no more blizzards here, no more winter freezes, because Texas is not prepared. It's horrible. And Brandon says, I sat on my vote in the Virginia election. Aha! So you were one of the Black folks out there that made a difference. Like, not we ain't going for it. So salute to you. And Don says, if observe the Torah, if you observe the Torah, you have to not work on the Sabbath. Yeah, I know. I work Saturday and Sunday just to try to get ahead of the game, and then I end up working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm a workaholic. I hate to say it.
See, if you had a man, you wouldn't have to worry about that. But go ahead, modern woman. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a whole other topic. You better be happy I don't have the energy to go there with you. And Sandra says, what about Kanye West running? I mean, I like Kanye. I think he's got a few issues, but who don't? But if you ever heard Kanye talk and speak about the issues affecting Black people, he was spot on. He was right on the money. So if you guys are interested, listen to his podcast with Joe Rogan. He talks about a lot of things that will really have you opening your eyes. And it's stuff we already know about, but just to hear him really, have a well-rounded conversation about it is very intriguing. Sandra says, laugh out loud. Money says, Jonathan, I keep hearing there's supposed to be another stimulus check. I think you meant Demetra. Another stimulus check. Have you heard anything in California? I could go for at least three, or she meant Donovan, three of those, and increase the minimum wage fairly $15 an hour.
But Moni, why haven't the Democrats could do that? Why haven't they done it? Why haven't they done it? The deficit, you're worried about the deficit? Come on, $3 trillion they pulled right out their asses. There was no study. They just pulled it out.
Yep. Very good point. And Gilberto says to Donovan, what's funny is when Obama ran, I have an uncle who is 64 now that recently told me he didn't vote for him because he saw through him. He stated he was talking lies up there. Yes, indeed. A lot of people saw through it. Facts Not Feeling says that Donovan, Saadiq, my mom sounded just like that. I kept telling her if Biden is not doing anything for Blacks, why are you blaming Trump? Ooh. And Impervious 99, how are you? He says we need to focus on our community finances. Voting is not working. There you go. You also say our ancestors did not die to vote. They died to get their interest. You better believe it, because that's the lie that they tell.
Martin Luther King even said it, right?
Yeah, they try to say that our ancestors died to vote. They did not die to vote. They died to get something for the vote, but we keep on spreading that lie. So
no. Well, John Lewis got his ass whooped so you can vote. That's
a
lie too. That's a lie too. And but then again, Martin Luther King said we are coming for our check.
Yes, indeed. Honeydew said these people justices take an oath to the Constitution, not to their birthright. So to me, what can I expect but symbolism and more white constitutional power? Good point. Arson says, thank you very much, guys. I learned so much with you too. And now I'll look for the Kanye and Rogan interview you mentioned. Thank you guys again. Oh, it's our pleasure. Facts Not Feeling says, did not get a single check. I think my ex-wife got the checks and either cashed them or tore them up. Well, damn. Javai says, Demetra, I agree that Kanye speaks well. However, it depends on whether or not he is taking his meds. We can't knowingly put someone in office with more than 4 personalities. Well, y'all got Biden. Not y'all, but Biden is up in there. He don't know what time of day it is. And H. McDonald says, after seeing Kanye buck dancing in front of Trump, I can only take what Kanye says with just a grain of salt. That's fair enough. And Sandra says, cut the check. And Yahweh says, let's win with Yahweh Bahashawa Yahawashi. Ooh, forgive me. And lastly, Mona says, but I know Republicans, because they lost so bad, they're putting law strings. I just like 2 Democrats that would have voted to get rid of the filibuster, but would not Joe Manchin. All right, y'all. So that is the end of the comments, and we are at the end of the show. And I thank you very, very much. And Yahweh says, don't depend on something that passes gas. Lord have mercy. This is the end of the show. I love and appreciate you guys all for being here. Thank you so much, Donovan, the recovering Democrat.
This was a great conversation, you guys. I'm gonna give them a round of applause.
Yes,
that was
indeed.
A great conversation.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. As always, we love and appreciate you. And we have a Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal if you guys would donate to the channel. And thank you for those of you guys who do and did donate to the channel. We love and appreciate you for doing that. And yes, Sean, thank you. Says great show. And thank you all. See you guys saying great show. Thank you. We will be back here next Sunday, same time, 5 p.m. Central Time. I know that you guys don't get the notification, so I'm sorry about that.
Please share on your platforms. Get the message out. If you guys you want change in this country, we've got to start talking to our neighbors, our friends, our cousins, and all these folks that doing all this craziness and always complaining about not getting a check because whatever. You got to spread the word so that maybe it might open their mind a little bit.
Absolutely. So we will see y'all next week. And then look for the podcast, the videos that we do put out on Tuesday and Saturday. Donovan and I bouncing ideas off each other, sometimes arguing and all that, but it's all good. Anyway, we will see you guys next Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Have a great day and stay safe out there. Peace.